I'm Caitlyn Hodins, and I am an attorney here at Triangle Smart Divorce.
I'm Ashley Philipelli, and I'm also an attorney here at Triangle Smart Divorce. And today we are going to talk about how to talk to your kids about divorce, the do's and don'ts for parents.
So, a lot of people ask us and want our opinions on when they should tell their kids about the divorce. My preference is to tell the kids prior to any move out being scheduled, if possible. That's not always going to be possible. But if it is, I think it's good for them to have a week or two to know it's coming. It's not something that you're surprising them with, saying, hey, by the way, mom's moving out tomorrow. I do think it's good to give them some time to adjust to the concept. And I also think that if possible, it should be something that you try to talk to your kids about together. If you can present a united front, I think it's good to do that. Again, this is not always possible. If things are very, very contentious and the two of you can't stand the sight of each other, your kids are going to pick up on that. It might be best to have that conversation separately, but talk about what you're each going to say to your children before you actually go do it.
And I think kind of going towards like setting a united front from the beginning is one thing you have to think about is, yes, you might be divorcing and you're going to not have to live with this person for the rest of your life, but you're still going to be connected to them for the rest of your kids' lives because you have children together. And you need to remember that going forward, that just because you don't live together doesn't mean you're not going to have to deal with each other for a very long time after this. And so going into it where the kids can see this is a united front, you know, they're splitting up, but they're still both here for us and here, you know, they're both still our parents, can kind of set them up and set y'all up so that later on in life, things won't be difficult. You can both go to graduations and weddings and things like that, because you have to think kind of that far ahead when you're going through this.
I agree. And, you know, there are going to be cases where maybe that's not possible. In those situations, I do think it's very important that you be very cognizant of what you're saying to your child when you're telling them that you're getting a divorce. You don't want to talk negatively about your spouse. You don't want to say, well, mom did this or dad did that. You very much want to keep it surface level, give them the minimum, what they need to know to understand what's happening without getting into the details of what made your marriage fall apart, their kids. And it really, at the end of the day, doesn't matter if they're 6 or they're 16. The person that you are divorcing is still their other parent, and it's important for people to remember that.
Yeah. And yeah, I think the best thing you can do, both parents, is just make sure, I think the best thing you do is not talk bad about the other parent. Just treat them with respect in front of your child so that your child feels like they can be comfortable with the other parent and vice versa. And some children may need, you know, sometimes therapy can help. That's dependent on the situation. But I mean, either way, it's a very, very big change for the child. So, I mean, they're going to be going through some difficult times, but they need to feel comfortable being able to talk to you or talk to the other parent when they're going through this as well. And they might not feel comfortable if all you're doing is talking bad about the other parent.
Yeah, because you want them to be comfortable in both homes, and that's the reality. They're going to have 2 homes now, and you want them to feel comfortable saying, hey, I had a great time at mom's, this is what we did, and not feel like they're letting you down or they're going to get in trouble for talking about their other parent. Unfortunately, we do see situations where that happens, so we try to caution people against those sorts of
judges
actions.
Hate it.
Oh, they do.
They absolutely hate it. So it's not going to be helpful to you in the long run. And, you know, you said the reality is they're going to go spend time at the other parent's house, and that generally is the reality. I mean, there are very rarely cases where the other, like one parent's not getting at least some kind of visitation. And so if that's what you're ordered to do and your child has to go to the other parent's house for visitation, you don't want them to be miserable there. They have to go. So you might as well tell them to make the best of it, and you act like they can make the best of it so that they can enjoy themselves over there.
Yeah, and try to be very cognizant of what your kids are telling you back, what their responses are. Listen to what they need, and sometimes maybe what they're not actually telling you with their words, but with their actions. You mentioned therapy. I think especially in high conflict cases where y'all cannot put up that united front, and it might be more difficult for the two of you to have those conversations. Therapy can be a great tool because that's an outlet for your child that's not either parent. Sometimes it can be uncomfortable for kids to have opinions that they give to their parents about their parents' divorce.
And another thing too, I would say to not do is question them about their time at the parents' house when they come back from visitation, because that is going to make them, that's going to make your child feel uncomfortable. They're going to feel like they have to always be on alert at the other parent's house, that they have to report back to you, and they're going to feel put in the middle of it. So don't question them. If they come back and tell you something, that's fine. Don't question them. Don't ask them who was over there, specifics about it. You can say, did you have a good time at your mom's house this weekend? That's fine.
Yeah, and if, they come home, they're excited, they're telling you about something, that doesn't mean you can't ask follow-up questions, like a normal engaged conversation, but don't interrogate your kids at the end of the day, because that's not going to get you very far, and that is another one of those things that a judge is going to be very unimpressed with.
Mm-hmm.